As far as franchising services are concerned, because we don't make a lot of money per franchisee, it's not a big margin business. We look for businesses that are potential scale. If we can't see the potential for at least 100 franchisees, it's not really worth doing it.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Right? We don't have the luxury of a company like McDonald's to spend months and months on training somebody.
Absolutely. So how you do it then?
We have a training course, which is the generic training course, which takes 3 days. And that's a start. The first one is me. I talk about what I call the Jim's ethos, talking about service to clients, service to franchisees, and I end up the last training course too. So that's a 3-day course, business essentials, all taught by people who are experienced in the field, experienced franchisors, people who've done it. And every member of the course actually judges every speaker. So we actually look at whether they're happy with the course and whether it's engaging. And then we look at, so we constantly, and we change people. If they don't score well, we change them. So we really have a high value course. And on top of that,
so make sure everybody understands, right?
So, for example, cleaning is 2 days, mowing is 3 days, test and tag is 12 days. There's different divisions. Fencing is 8 weeks in the field. So depending on the division, you have extra divisional training. But the core is that 3-day course. An interesting thing about that is the way we measure the effectiveness of our training is through a thing called attrition rate. And it's what proportion of people who signed are still with us in 12 months' time. Now, if you go into a business like a mowing and cleaning business, it's typically got very high attrition. It's between 90 and 95%. If you go as independent, our traditional attrition rate was around about 17%. And that was consistent year to year. When we put the course in, our attrition rate dropped immediately to 10.5%. So more than a third of the people that were leaving in the first year were no longer leaving. It's since crept up to about 12, which is upsetting, but we're working on that. So you've got to measure very carefully what is working. And then you look at different franchisors, who's getting the best who's getting the lowest attrition, what are they doing differently, how are they supporting. That's how we found, for example, proactive calls. Actually getting franchisors to ring franchisees was effective because we found that people who were doing that were having much better success than those who weren't. So you're constantly looking to so coaching, you have your upfront training, and then you have your ongoing, your meetings, you have your proactive calls. We ask franchisors to run meetings at least 8 times a year, so about every 6 weeks, which we found is the optimum level. And then they talk about how to improve, and they share information, get together. Ideally, we put on a meal for them too, because that brings in a more communal thing, encourage them to get together and talk together. That's your process. You don't have a lot of resources. You're talking about a lawn mowing contractor who is not like a McDonald's franchisor or somebody who's running a major business. This is somebody, I mean, some of them are very big actually. I've got quite a few franchisees would be clearing, well over $1 million a year. But most of them are. The typical Jim's franchisee turns over probably a bit under $3,000 a week from what our surveys show. So these are not major. They do better than independents by far, because we have more work and we charge more than the competition. We can afford to with the brand. But basically, they're small businesses.
Yeah. So then, Jim, so what advice do you have for someone starting a business right now and they thinking that they can franchise this business? So what are the parameters that they need to be looking after carefully? And are all businesses is the right choice to do a franchise in order to expand it? Or what type of business, in your opinion, are more easy to replicate or to build a brand and a franchise where everybody can benefit? Customer, franchisor, and of course the franchise owner.
It depends. Whether you franchise depends to us on the nature of the business. Anything that's a service business is very franchisable because you need an independent person to be there to do the quotes. The businesses we don't tend to franchise so much are those that you can run from a head office. Example, Jim's Legal. And we have a legal business that's just started up, basically last year. where we do independent. It's not very big so far. We're probably turning over $250,000 a year, but it's just started. And we use our in-house legal counsel to do that. We do things like conveyancing and stuff. You can do that from a head office. So it's, even though we do have conveyancing franchisees, these are all eminently suitable. We're starting a business now called Jim's Healthy, which is providing very healthy meals, frozen meals for delivery for supermarkets. They're using the brand and my interest in health and fitness and so forth. So that's the typical head office thing. You don't need to franchise that. Franchising works where you've got somebody, you need the local owner, the entrepreneur to be on the job. That's the kind of thing. And all the stuff we do, lawn mowing, cleaning, those kind of things, it works very, very well. As far as franchising services are concerned, because we don't make a lot of money per franchisee, it's not a big margin business. We look for businesses that are potential scale. If we can't see the potential for at least 100 franchisees, it's not really worth doing it, because there's just not enough income coming from. Our fees average about 6% of turnover, and that covers advertising, support, everything, IT, the lot. So we're not very high fees. So you've got to have business that can scale. So one of the things I want to do if somebody approaches about a business, and that's pretty typical, I would get at least top one person a week inquiring about possibly starting a new division. The first thing I would do is go into Google and type in the service. And what I want to see is a whole lot of sponsored ads, because that tells me there's a lot of interest in that thing. And if I can see that, that's interesting. So somebody started driving school, for example. That's just one of our mowing franchisees actually has done that. And that's going really well. That started just last year. So it's a big business. It's a big scale business. It suits us well.
Yeah. So then, Jim, how you identify there is enough need in the market to have at least 100 franchisee. This is the due diligence become more complex, because, for example, if you are in a town, if you are in an area, okay, you know how many people can fix your shoes, or how many people can sew your clothes. So you can make an assessment, say, okay, would be nice to open a shoe store here, somebody that fix shoes and do key cut, right? Because there is missing in this particular area. Completely different is to build a franchise where you need 100 all over Australia.
It's very easy to tell though, Harry.
How do you know?
You look at Google. You look at Google, you see how many businesses are there. You look at Google My Business Listing. It's the same way. How many sponsored ads are there? How many local businesses are there? How far apart are they? That's a real simple process. And some businesses are just, like somebody comes to me, they want to do something about snake removal, for example. A lot of snakes in Australia. So you look at it and say, no, it's not possible. You can't get enough. It's a great business for one person, but you're not going to get 100 people removing snakes. So forget about that one.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes up, driving school or laundry or anything, and these are all recent ones, then that's a good one. Somebody's come up with concrete polishing. You have to look at that. What's the demand for it? The other thing we look for, you want to know the business is sufficiently big. We want to see a decent hourly rate. Generally speaking, an average person doing our kind of business should be able to make $70 an hour. That's kind of our base. Now, I'm not talking about the best. I'm talking about the average operator, which means to say if you're going to mow a lawn, for example, it's going to take you, say, 35 minutes. It took me to mow and edge a typical lawn. You're charging $80. You're making, including traveling, you're $70 an hour. That's the kind of calculation. So we look at that. But more important, well, both those have got to fit. But then the most important thing is, who's the person coming to you? What do they know? So, for example, do they know the industry? If they've got background industry, like we have somebody whose recent business was what you call scratch and dent, where you go out and repair cars. Okay. Now, the guy who did that has previously run a very successful business. He was also, way back, he was one of our franchisees and franchisors. So Jason, know the guy good. So if you've got somebody with background in the industry, or alternatively, somebody very successful within our business already. So quite often businesses started by franchisees or franchisors in Jim's group. So you've got to find the right person, and that's the thing. And then we have a process with the divisions where they've got to go to a training course. We have a There's a 3-day, 6-day total training course for franchisors in 2 different sections. We teach them how to do it. Then they need to attend ongoing. They need to attend a monthly meeting and also a 6-monthly or 1-day seminar. So there's training requirements, and then they get certain performance criteria. So we don't charge very much to get in, but we charge ongoing fees. But they have to actually. We have a target.
So Jim, if somebody wants to know more about what you do, about your franchises, they want to learn from you, they want to have access to your information and to your company, how the process works, how can they find you, how can they learn more about you? Definitely they're not going to have your phone number. I already know that. You already shared it, but any way that they can learn from you.
But if they go to www.gyms.net, got that? That's easy. Gyms.net, easy, anywhere in the world. They go in there, they'll see all the information. There's a section called Meet Jim. They can go to me. Now, they're not going to get but they can email me and I will respond.
Thank you so much.
Start a franchise. Here's an invitation. We've done it. We've had a couple of guys from the States come out to us, and we just say, come and do all of our training course. It'll cost you whatever it costs you, about $1,500 to do the whole thing. Franchisor course. We'll tell you.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's
no obligation. There's no confidentiality. We've actually had 2 people who've gone away from our courses and tried to set up their own franchising network. None of them worked particularly well, but they were free to do it. We give it out.
Wow. So you do have courses, Jim. So you do have courses in the website, right? For people to start their own.
Not on the website. No, you got to come to us. You got to come to Melbourne.
Okay. You go to Melbourne to see you guys.
This is the franchising capital of the world, Melbourne, where you learn the top stuff about service franchising. We are the best. You can learn from us. You can meet with me. I'll have a chat with you over lunch, because I attend lunches at training and so forth. I get to know people. You come and learn. We've had a couple of people from the States come out and do our courses. They're great people too. They even helped us. They ran some seminars for us as well, sharing their ideas. We're very free on that. I don't hide information. In fact, I've got a book too, which you'll see on the site too. There's a new one coming out called No Other Success, which just says everything about it, you can even download it from the site. It's easy.
Thank you so much, Jim. And with this note, see you guys in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Jim break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.